Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for her, that he might sanctify and cleanse her with the washing of water by the word, that he might present her to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that she should be holy and without blemish. So husbands ought to love their own wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. For no one ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes and cherishes it, just as the Lord does the church. For we are members of his body, of his flesh, and of his bones.
Because the perceptions of Islam and the true values are so different. There's an enormous gap. Before I became Muslim, I had the same perceptions as everybody else. However, when I looked beyond the headlines and, and the prejudices, I found a religion that makes sense, that is beautiful, that contains, the same ethical values as Christianity or Judaism. Did you know, for example, that Jesus is a prophet of Islam? So is Moses and Abraham. There's a whole chapter on Mary in the Quran. Prophet Muhammad was a women's rights champion.
يعني الرجل لابد انه يحسس زوجته بايش؟ بقوتها. انت ليش ما تسمعين الكلام؟ كم مرة انا اقول لك؟ كم مرة انا نبهك انك انت تسمعين الكلام؟ مو بقايل لك انك انت ما تطلعين من البيت الا باذن؟ شوف شلون؟ هذا تعنيف شوي.
Social reformer, an environmentalist. We don't know all of this. Absolutely, you're looking puzzled. We don't know this. This is just not known. I think the true values of Islam are the best hidden secret, and it's time we pull the veil on it and come out and show the positive values. When I tell any of these things that I've just mentioned to my producer on television, you know what he says? My God, Islam needs PR.
Men are in charge of women by right of what Allah has given one over the other and what they spend for maintenance from their wealth. So righteous women are devoutly obedient, guarding in the husband's absence what Allah would have them guard. But those wives from whom you fear arrogance, first advise them, then if they persist, forsake them in bed, and finally strike them. But if they obey you once more, seek no means against them. Indeed, Allah is ever exalted and grand. Quran chapter 4, verse 34.
كمان تكريم الإسلام للمرأة أنه لم يجز العقوبة بالضرب كما قال أهل العلم إلا في حالة واحدة عند امتناعها عن فراشه.
عند امتناعها عن فراشه.
نعم، لأنه أين يذهب الرجل؟ هو يريدها وهي تمتنع عنه فيأتيها بالوعظ.
لا تاني،
يأتيها بالتهديد.
تاني مولانا الحتة
دي مهمة.
تاني دي أنا عايز أسمعها منك تاني.
اي نعم.
يعني ما ينفعش واحد يضرب مراته
عشان أكل، عشان شرب، عشان لا.
أيوة.
لا يكون إلا لأجل هذه المسألة التي لا يستغني عنها.
Prophet Muhammad was a women's rights champion.
The Prophet said, "Isn't the witness of a woman equal to half of that of a man?" The women said, "Yes." He said, "This is because of the deficiency of a woman's mind."
أهلا بكم من خلال هذا اللقاء الذي هو بعنوان ضرب الزوجات. بد قبل ذلك أيضا أن توجد أسبابه الشرعية. الضرب لا يكون بمثل العصا هذا، ولا بالعقال كما يفعل بعض الأزواج، ولا كذلك أيضا في بعض الأدوات الحادة التي يفعلها بعض الأزواج مع الأسف. كما يقول ابن عباس لما سئل عن الضرب قال يضربها بمثل السواك أو المنديل. لأنه ماذا؟ المقصود فقط إشعار الزوجة أنها أخطأت في حق زوجها. بعض الزوجات تحب أو تريد أنها تعيش عيشة الند مع زوجها، بمعنى عيشة الضد، كما أنك فأنا لي، وكما أنك تفعل فأنا أفعل، كما أنك تقول أنا أقول. هذه مشكلة خطيرة جدا.
No woman can fulfill her duty towards Allah until she fulfills her duty towards her husband. If he asks her for intimacy, even if she is on her camel saddle, she should not refuse.
Prophet Muhammad was a women's rights champion.
Warum trägt sie dieses Kopftuch? Muss sie das? Will sie das? Will das ihre Familie oder ihr Mann?
If something is ordered in the Quran, then it is absolutely compulsory. Refusing it is apostasy. Here is what the Quran says about compulsions. It is not for a believing man or a believing woman, when Allah and His Messenger have decided a matter, that they should thereafter have any choice about their affair. And whoever disobeys Allah and His Messenger has certainly strayed into clear error. And say to the believing women that they should lower their gaze and guard their modesty, that they should not display their beauty and ornaments except what must ordinarily appear thereof, that they should draw their veils over their bosoms, and not display their beauty except to their husbands, their fathers, their husbands' fathers, their sons, their husbands' sons, their brothers or their brothers' sons, or their sisters' sons, or their women, or the slaves whom their right hands possess, or male servants free of physical needs, or small children who have no sense of the shame of sex, and that they should not strike their feet in order to draw attention to their hidden ornaments. And, O ye believers, turn ye all together towards Allah, that ye may attain bliss.
Tazi is discussing the massive backlash the Muslim YouTuber and Instagrammer Dina Tokyo got when she decided to take off the hijab. She actually went so far as to say that hijabis are a toxic cult. Watch some of the comments that she reads out here on her channel and see if you agree.
Women like you are fitna for the Muslim Ummah. There's a difference between people who secretly sin and those who sin publicly. You're no less than a devil who's spreading evil publicly and brainwashing women's minds against hijab. Hijab is the dignity of a Muslim woman. You don't hold the intellect to actually perceive the importance of hijab and the consequences of observing it. Oh, and you really do, don't you, mate? La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Anyone who calls their self Muslim should boycott her. You are spending your money on haram and supporting someone so they can live a haram lifestyle and trash Islam. SMH. She looks like a hoe now. Lol, without the hijab, nalat on women like this. What?
In total, she recorded 48 minutes of her simply reading out these comments.
The very first Muslim Arab feminist group, the Egyptian Feminist Union, nearly 100 years ago, encouraged Muslim women to discard their veils. Removing the veil symbolised the entire objective of their campaign that gave women access to university education for the first time. That's real feminism. That's standing up for real women's rights.
They are the Sharia police, and it's not vandals or thieves they're after. Women exposing their hair is only one of the controversial crimes considered to be against local Sharia law.
Real feminists in countries like Iran face police persecution and prison for protesting against Iran's mandatory headscarf law by taking photos of themselves without a veil. In India, a father killed his 4-year-old daughter, smashing her head against the floor when her hijab slipped from her head during dinner. In Ontario, a man strangled his 16-year-old sister when she defied their father by refusing to wear a hijab. In Iran, vigilantes roam the streets, throwing acid in the faces of women whose veils are deemed to be too loose. Last year, a former University of Missouri instructor dragged a female relative aged 14 out of school by the hair when he discovered she hadn't worn a veil. Muslim women in London are threatened with death if they're caught not wearing a hijab.
You're just jealous of my sister's
champion.
You're just jealous of my sister's.
Okay, are you being forced to wear that?
Are you? I think some women are actually having to fight to be able to wear it.
The niqab is so practical. Yes, there are some cultural practices that maybe oppresses women, but it's cultural. It's never been Islamic.
If feminism is about a woman's right to make her own choices, then this is one of it.
And by the way, we don't undermine a woman who does not wear the face veil or the hijab at all. I respect her completely.
Why would you wear that? That's a question I like and I respect, because it's not judging you, it's just asking you.
I am wearing it for God. It's my own spiritual journey.
Because in the end of the day, this is just a piece of cloth.
It's an act of worship, and I love doing it, and I live it.
But it's why I wear it that gives me purpose.
It is who I am. This is my identity.
Yeah, there's been times in my life where I consider taking it off.
I do appreciate that in this country that we do have the right to be able to wear it.
The stares that I get, the comments that I get in the street, but it had also to do with sometimes with my own Muslim community where I struggled.
It's not just Muslim women who are modest. There are so many different religions and different types of people who practice modesty in different ways.
This is something that I feel that whenever I do it, I feel that spiritual thing in my heart, and it just boosts me up.
I'm getting palpitations.
Narrated by Aisha. The wives of the Prophet used to go to Al-Manasi, a vast open place, to answer the call of nature at night. Omar used to say to the Prophet, "Let your wives be veiled," but Allah's apostle did not do so. One night, Sauda bint Zama, the wife of the Prophet, went out at Isha time, which is the last prayer time at night, and she was a tall lady. Omar addressed her and said, "I have recognized you, O Sauda. I have recognized you, O Sauda." He said so, as he desired eagerly that the verses of Al-Hijab, the observing of veils by the Muslim women, may be revealed. So Allah revealed the verses of Al-Hijab, a complete body cover excluding the eyes.